So you still don't know what the problem is. Like you have no clue. You have no idea what the problem is. You're constantly bloated. Like when you look down, you see your belly hanging over your belt buckle, and it's just not a cool feeling. All right. Like I get it. Well, not really, because I don't really get bloated because I implement these simple three tips on a daily basis, baby. Please shout out to all my Louis Marco fans if you know what the fuck that's about. But today we're gonna be chatting about it bloating and how to actually reduce bloating, how to actually control it. And, again, three simple tips that you can implement every single day, three actual actionable steps that you can put forward to make sure that you don't fucking bloat, or at least that you reduce your bloating. Okay. So before we start off with today's live stream, before we start off with today's podcast, I want y'all motherfuckers to tell me how your day is going. Introduce yourself if you haven't already. If you don't know what we're going to do here, I'm going to go talk my talk for the live stream and the podcast. And then at the end of it, I'm going to actually answer all of your guys and girls' questions if you do have them. If they're a little bit private, feel free to DM me and we can talk on a one-on-one basis. Like I understand you don't want to air your dirty laundry out on a live stream where other people are like watching it, right? So I get that, all right? So feel free to DM me at any point in time. Feel free to drop a comment or question at any point in time, and I will get back to you at the end of the podcast. Sounds good? Sounds good? All right. So as you guys and girls join, I'm gonna sip some of my water here, my Smurf water, and it's actually pre-workout. And I'm gonna let you guys and girls just tell me how your day is going. I'm gonna read some of the comments before we get started, and then I'll do a little intro and we'll start that podcast off. Capiche? My boy says over here, yo, first of all, what's good, Malik? I see you, bro. He says, I need to hear this one. And he says, got lit, just got off work. Been having stomach problems this week, so this is perfectly timed. Love it, love it, love it. I love that this is perfectly timed. I'm just gonna pin the the topic of today's live stream over here / podcast, and then more folks will get in. Also, guys and girls, share it out to a friend that you know will get value from this. Don't hog this all to yourself. I'm here to help the people. You feel me, Sam? What's good? Yo, what's good? What's good? I see you people. Yo, Sangita, what's up? All right, so without wasting any time, I'm going to actually waste a couple of seconds just to let you know if you have any questions or comments, drop them now. And I'll get back to you at the end of the podcast recording. Also, if your questions are a little bit too private, feel free to DM me on a personal basis and we can chat it out. All right. So, without wasting any time, we are going to dive into today's podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Welcome to the Natural Nomad podcast, where we keep it real about how we feel and what we deal with in life. Disclaimer, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Not because I want to be mean, but because I fucking respect you. So if you tune in and decide to give me the time out of your life that you know you'll never get back, the very least I can do for you is keep it a stack. Now that that's out the way, let's chat with IFBB Pro Matt Utale. All right. Let's get raw. What's good, chest bruds, whatever the fuck you identify as. It's cool. You're all welcome here. It doesn't matter. Let's chat about it. 3 simple tips to reduce bloating, or at least to control your bloating. If you have, we'll say like a mildly pregnant belly. I'm not poking fun at you. I'm just literally trolling. And you look down and you always see that your belly's hanging over your belt buckle, and it's just like uncomfortable in terms of like the feeling and the look. Then this is the episode for you to tune into. And I will actually be dropping 3 actionable steps for you guys and girls, chest bras and chest broads, to be able to, implement so that you can actually reduce the bloating, reduce that bubble gut feeling. Shout out to Louis Marco fans if you know who he is or what he's about. And again, the fucking point. If you're confused at any, shoot me a DM this live stream and I'll get back to you at the end of the recording. Okay, so into the meat and the potatoes, people. Okay, let's dive into number 1. This is something that I know a lot of people aren't really paying attention to, simply because a lot of people don't go to the fucking doctors nowadays. And I'm not gonna judge you. I'm not gonna like ridicule you and say that like, oh, you're weird for not going to the doctors or the dentist or whatever. Like, I understand people have fucking phobias, especially now with COVID and whatever. But this one is actually fucking important. You need to actually be able to go to the doctor and check for this one thing that I'm going to bring up to you guys and girls. All right. And it is called gluten sensitivity. All right. So your gluten sensitivity. Some of you guys and girls are like ahead of the curve and you already like have checked this out with your doctors and have done a little bit of research on your own. But guys and girls, you need to actually check your gluten sensitivity. Go to a doctor, get that shit checked the fuck out. Okay. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you have a gluten sensitivity problem, like if gluten doesn't digest well in your body, it's going to be one of the main things that's going to cause the bloat. All right. And let's face it, most of you guys and girls that are listening to this, most of you guys and girls that are just like, I'll say regular human beings that just eat and don't really care about what the fuck they eat. Um, there's probably a lot of gluten in what you're eating, or there's some gluten in what you're eating, and you're not like conscious of that. You're not like mentally aware. And when you consume this and your body isn't able to break it down, you're gonna bloat and you have like no idea why. You know what I mean? You may not even be like obese or fat or anything, but you notice that you always bloat when you have like pizza per se. But then your brother, your sister, your family member, a friend has the same amount of pizza with you, and they could look similar to you, have the same physical activity levels, but they're not bloating because like they have a gluten tolerance that is more tolerant than you. Like they can tolerate more gluten than you, or they don't have a gluten sensitivity issue at all. So the very first tip that I would recommend out of the three tips, guys and girls, go to the fucking doctor and ask about your gluten sensitivity. All right, that's important. Like that's like the first thing I always bring up to people when they ask me, "Yo, Matt, I'm bloated or my stomach is round. How do I flatten it? Like, do I do more crunches? Do I do?" I'm like, "No, fuck, dude. It's about what you eat. Okay, also how much you eat, but what you eat is a lot more important, right? If you're eating foods that have high gluten concentrations and you are like really, really sensitive to gluten, then you might want to, factor out for low or no gluten foods. But the only way you can actually know that is if you actually go to the doctor and get your gluten sensitivity checked out. Does that make sense? So that's actionable tip number one. Go to the doctor and check for your gluten sensitivity. Cool? We're on the same page, people. If we are, just nod your head silently if you're listening to the podcast, or just type down to the live stream, say, yeah, it makes sense, or drop some fire in the comments if it makes sense. All right. So, without wasting any time, tip number two out of the three tips for you to reduce your motherfucking bloating. Okay. And to get that mild pregnancy down. Okay. So, let's talk about it. Let's get rid of this bubble gut. The second tip I want to bring up to you guys and girls is eat foods that your body is used to. And that sounds sort of like generic, right? Like, how do I know what my body's used to? Let's put it this way: foods that you've been eating your entire life, that not even that your entire life, like foods that you've been eating consistently for the last, say, 3 months, 4 months, that you notice you haven't like bloated on, right? For some people, it could be anything. Like you, as I said, it could be pizza, it could be burgers, you don't bloat on them. Cool, right? But when you start to factor in other foods like certain types of bread or certain types of like carbs, um, you start to bloat. And it may not be only it may not only be related to your gluten sensitivity levels, but it could also be related to the fact that your body isn't able to digest it properly simply because it's foreign. Okay. Like if you ever gone on vacation, if you've ever gone to like somewhere far out and you're eating like a whole bunch of not even random foods, I'd say like foods that you'd like that you'd normally eat, like pasta, pizza, and stuff like that. But the pasta or pizza you eat on your destination location or wherever you are that is different, that is new, that is not consistent, has different ingredients in it or whatever it is, your body isn't ingesting it consistently, then it becomes like it's harder for you to digest and metabolize properly. Like I'll give you an example for myself. I love pizza. I actually love pizza. If I wanted to, I would have it every single week, but I don't always want it every single week. I'll tell you this: when I order pizza from some pizzerias, like Gino's Pizza or like Pizza, it's fine, it's cool. But when I go to like some random other spot that I don't eat consistently, or that like something that somewhere where my body isn't familiar with, it just takes a longer period of time for me to actually digest that food, or it just doesn't digest well altogether. It can even be certain types of rice, guys and girls, like for me specifically. And for you, you might be able to relate to this. If you can relate to this, let me know. If you can't, that's cool. But it could be certain types of rice too, guys and girls, like for real. Whatever you eat consistently, your body will get used to. When I say your body, I mean your digestive system, your digestive tract will get used to, and the bacterial culture in your guts and all that stuff will be able to break down and metabolize your foods a whole lot more efficiently simply because it's not foreign. It's consistent. Like and you guys and girls are going to be seeing this on my YouTube channel very shortly. But the way I meal prep is like I would have like four different like rice meals, right? I would have like rice and tilapia, rice and chicken breast, rice and tuna, and then I'd have rice and ground turkey. Those four staples, like those protein staples, tilapia, chicken, tuna, and turkey, have been staples for like the last few years of my life. So I know like the bacterial culture in my gastrointestinal system is like familiar with that. And I typically don't have any digestion issues or digestive issues when it comes to eating those foods because like I'm already constantly eating them. But if I like switch out, say, the chicken breast for like a steak or like sirloin, any type of food that I'm not really eating consistently, I'll notice like a digestion issue, right? Like I'll notice it. Like I'll actually feel a little bit more bloated. I'll feel a little bit, like more constipated and stuff because my body just is not used to digesting it. And it's not only related to carbs, guys and girls. It can be protein sources too. So stick with foods that your body's familiar with. Stop eating fucking random foods, or at least try your best to not go to other sources that are quote unquote random for the same foods that you normally eat. I mean, if you're on vacation, you don't really have a choice. I get it, but try to be in control of eating foods consistently, giving yourself, feeding your intestines essentially foods that your body is used to digesting, not foreign foods, because foreign foods, you'll have to adapt to that. The bacterial culture in your gastrointestinal system will have to get used to that. Make sense? If that makes sense. Drop a fire comment down there below, or just nod your head silently if it makes sense. You feel me? Okay. So, tip number 3. When it comes to the top 3 tips for you to reduce your bloating, get closer to a flatter stomach, is this, guys and girls. And this one's actually very, 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 I know it's like extremely neglected. Like I know because I used to fucking neglect it. And then when I started to implement it, I saw this benefit. And also my clients did as well. Okay. So hydration, right? Hydration. What am I talking about when it comes to hydration? Not just the amount of water that you're drinking, okay? But the amount of electrolytes you're consuming, specifically sodium and potassium. But we're going to lean a little bit more on the sodium side here, okay? So if you're drinking a lot of water, which you should be, which I would consider between, excuse me, 3 to 5 liters of water consistently a day, you want to make sure that you're replenishing your electrolyte stores, okay? Sodium and potassium. It's going to help with muscle function, brain function, and literally helping you feel hydrated. Because, I mean, if you just drink water, you don't have the sodium and potassium, your body won't actually be able to absorb the water. It will just pass through you. And that can actually cause you to feel more dehydrated, as ironic as that sounds. So, making sure that you have a good amount of sodium in your system and a good amount of potassium in your system, which is, of course, going to vary for everybody, is going to allow you to get more hydrated. Okay. And if you're more hydrated, your organs function better. If your organs function better, you can digest better. If you can digest better, then there's less bloating. Make sense? But that isn't all for hydration. That is not all for hydration. Because I know a lot of people that, especially my clients when they first join, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to be more hydrated. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to get 3 to 5 liters of water a day. Cool. But they see a lot of bloating when they hit 3 or 4 to 5 liters of water a day. And why is that? This one, it was like, it's so simple. But when like you really think about it, it's like so easy to fuck up. Let me just keep it honest with you guys. Let's keep it a stack. The amount of time and space that you give away from your last meal, and we'll say another liter of water that you consume, and then your meal after that. If that timing is like really close, if you're drinking water super close to the time that you eat meals, you're gonna fucking bloat. Like it's the way it is. Like the food or the water hasn't passed through you yet, and the food is still there. So your food, especially if it's like any sort of carb, any sort of bread, is gonna expand. And when that expands, it's gonna reflect in your gut. You're gonna see that you're literally bloating because you're carrying 1 to 2, 3, even 4 liters of water with the food that you just ate. Now the food is expanded as well with the water, which is why you're so bloated. So, guys and fucking girls, let me tell you this: if you're gonna drink your water, make sure that you're gonna do it at least, and this is like at least like the fastest is like 30 minutes before you have a meal or 30 minutes after you have a meal, so that you have some time to at least let the food pass and get to a different part of your digestive tract. And then you can put that water in, and then the water will actually aid you in digesting the food as opposed to making you feel bloated. Does that make sense? So think of it like a sponge. Of course, we don't fucking eat sponges unless you like, or you like to eat SpongeBob or whatever the fuck. But think of it like a sponge. Okay, you got a sponge here. The sponge is dry. You put it through like a tube. You push it through the tube. Fine. The tube is like your digestive system. Okay. Now, if you have that same sponge and you pour a bunch of water, like a whole entire liter, over the sponge, and then it expands, try to push it through that tube. It'll go through, but it'll be a lot harder to do. And you'll notice that the volume of the sponge is expanded. So I think that's the reason why it's a lot harder to do, because it's literally wider. It takes up more mass going down, right? So the sponge, when it's dry, is your food without the water on top of it. And you want to make sure that that dry sponge can go through, right, and fit through the tubes properly without any extra difficulty or spillage of like the water and all that stuff because it's expanded. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure, guys and girls. I hope that was actually a good enough analogy. I thought I did well there, but I can understand if you're still confused. Again, if you're still confused, DM me and I'll break it down for you on a one-to-one basis, like no problem. But you want to make sure that you drink your water first, right? So the water goes down the tube, then the dry sponge goes down, then the water again, and then it pushes the dry sponge once it's already in the other department. Okay. But if you have water, put a dry sponge on there, it soaks up that water, it gets large, and then you put more water on top of that, it's going to only expand more, and then there's going to be extra water just chilling in your fucking stomach, making you feel nauseous, making you feel bloated and look bloated. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys and girls? Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little recap here about what we talked about for those of you guys and girls that joined on the later side before we wrap up the podcast. So the first tip out of the three tips for you guys and girls to actually reduce the bloating in your system is number one, go to the fucking doctors, check for your gluten sensitivity to make sure you can actually ingest and digest gluten without any issues. Because if you have gluten sensitivity problems, you're more likely going to bloat than if you didn't have gluten sensitivity problems. The second thing is eat foods your body is used to. All right. The bacterial culture in your gut, in your gastrointestinal system, is the way it usually works is you're going to get used to digesting certain foods that you eat consistently. Right. And I'm not even saying they all have to be whole foods or clean foods. As I was talking about pizza earlier, like literally going to different pizzerias gives me like a different like outcome when it comes to how I digest it, right? Based off of the ingredients that they use, so on and so forth, and what my body's used to since I've consistently fed myself from that one source. So try to eat less random foods, try to experiment less with new foods, and stick to as many consistent normal foods as possible. Less foreign foods, more common foods. Cool. And the third tip, guys and girls, is hydration. Make sure that you get an adequate amount of sodium and potassium, which is going to vary for everybody. And if you don't know the number, feel free to DM me and we can talk about it and see what will work best for you. And on top of that, spacing out time from when you drink your water or any fluid, juice, anything like that, spacing that time from when you have your first liter, your meal, and then another liter after that, or however much fluid in terms of increments that you decide to drink it. All right. You don't want to be eating and drinking at the same time. You'll feel full faster. You'll look bloated. You'll feel bloated. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, nod your head silently or just drop a fire comment down below in the comments on the live stream platform that you're watching this on. But that's it. That's all, guys and girls. Don't forget to, implement at least one piece of actionable information from this podcast. Because again, remember, guys and girls, information without implementation is just fucking noise. All right. So if you laughed, cried, got any value or motivation from this or inspiration from this, share it out to one friend that you know will enjoy it too. All right, shameless plug. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, MATT space BUTALE, to see how I live my life outside of social media. And also, if you want to join the Natural Nomad Academy yourself, lose 10 to 25 pounds in 3 months, feel free to DM me and I'll see if you'd be a good fit. Again, I don't work with everybody. I only work with people that are qualified. And in order to qualify, you're going to have to pass the qualification. All right. So I just don't take on everybody. Also, the rates are increasing by 20% in the new year. So if you want to take advantage of the price that currently stands, which will never be here ever again, shoot me a DM. All right. So it's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. Natural IFBB Pro Matt signing out. Boom. All right. Podcast is recorded. Okay. Let's read some of these comments here, yo. Let's see what you guys and girls are talking about. Atif, I see you there on Facebook. What's up, bro? Fuck, I got mad love here on TikTok. We're at 1K likes today. Dope. If you have got any questions on TikTok, keep them coming. I'm gonna read Instagram's comments and questions first. Okay. Okay. Let's see what it is. Oh, Bianca's in the house. Yo, it's been so fucking long. Just look at you spitting rhymes. I know my hat got turned backwards and I turned into a rapper, bro. And she says, "How you doing, man? I'm doing fucking amazing. I'm actually relaxing. I've been relaxing, and when I say relaxing, I mean like taking time off of the gym for a while, because I haven't actually, excuse me, I haven't actually taken time off of the gym since like fucking summertime when I was going like 7 days a week, and then took 3 days off, and then went back to my 6 days a week schedule, and I stayed doing that all the way up until my nationals. So in lieu of one of the podcasts that I dropped earlier on of being like, um preventative and proactive instead of reactive, I decided to give myself a bit of a cut on my training so that I don't have to like get injured before I actually have to take a forced rest, right? So I was feeling it in my knees and a little bit in my shoulders, when it comes to like the wear and tear. So I just decided to, actually pull the brakes for once and give myself a little bit of an easy December and right back into January full steam. So I've been training like 3 to 4 days a week for the last we'll say for like the last month, like the last 3 weeks ish, 3 weeks about there. Just so I can like stay aligned and on top of my rest and recovery game because rest and recovery is a big fucking part of this. All right. So Bianca says, I hope you had a good Christmas and you enjoyed your time with the family. I hope you did as well. I did. I ate like a motherfucker. Um, I ate a lot and it's not even done yet because we've got the new year. I'm gonna go be checking my buddy, my good brother Tony Coke. So shout out if you watch the replay. We're gonna go there, have some fucking nachos, play some Halo and all that shit. Harvey, what it is? What's good? He says, thanks for the tips. I appreciate you. Humble Mike, thanks for joining. Um, Serena says, can you just use creatine and not pre-workout? Well, see, this is the thing. Creatine and pre-workout are two different things. Pre-workout is, we'll just keep it this way. Pre-workout is like caffeine, okay? And creatine is like protein. Well, just to make you like understand this a little bit better, protein is something that you're intaking nutritionally for your bodily functions so you can actually like grow muscle, burn fat, and like just maintain optimal bodily functions. Caffeine or pre-workout is just there to give you extra energy to do the work that's going to help you burn the calories, right? So they're two completely different things. Of course, you can have pre-workout with creatine in it, like some matrices are like that, but they're not the same thing, right? Like one is like I look at it like nutritionally based because you can get creatine from foods, but you can't get caffeine from like eating chicken, if that makes sense. But you can definitely get caffeine from, eating like coffee cake or having, some certain teas and coffee as well. Like you can definitely consume it from foods that you'd consider like a food or a fluid that, is a food or whatever, but they're two different things, right? So I personally would use both if I were to use both. I personally use caffeine tablets instead of pre workout, but I've got pre workout here today instead of drinking coffee because of the low calories and it just fucking tastes better. And I hate coffee breath. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. But yes, you can use creatine and pre workout. I'd recommend having your creatine either first thing in the morning or first thing right after your workout. Okay, so that's a good question. Oh man, I see all of you guys and girls over here on Instagram. I appreciate you. Fucking much love, yo. Uh yo, Dill, yo, what's up, homie? I see you, bro. I appreciate the thumbs up. I love you back. Whoever said that, I appreciate you. Bianca dropped some fire. I appreciate you. So this person is from Iran. Dope. Love it. I love the love. What's up? What's up? Just scanning through over here. Justin, what's good? Joel, I see you. Hey, bro, what's up? Um, Ukesh, what's up? Bianca says, true. Sometimes playing it safe is the way to go. Yeah, no def. Absolutely. And why I call it playing it smart because you got to implement rest and recovery. And if you neglect it long enough, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. Like, I definitely feel strong enough to go crush it. But I know in my heart of hearts, I did not do my due diligence when it comes to like rest and recovery. Like I was doing my daily stretching and all that stuff in the sauna. But you need to know when to like actually pull the handbrake instead of like just riding the wave until you actually fucking crash, right? What's up? What's up? Oh, Bianca also says swelling can be attributed to inflammation. Kind of an allergic reaction. Inflammation is the body's way of reacting to a foreign agent, and it is trying to get rid of it. Exactly. Whether or not the thing is toxic, it's just foreign, right? And the bacterial culture in your guts, or just like anywhere, like the way our bodies are, it's like survival first. So anything that is foreign that your body's digesting or that is like ingested, your body's gonna have some sort of reaction to make sure that your body's like still safe, right? So whether it's like the food that you eat and you get a little bit of indigestion and inflammation due to that, or a supplement that you take and you start getting itchy or whatever it is, like caffeine. If you take quite a bit of caffeine more than you're used to, you can start to itch, and that fucking happens to me. Or that tingling feeling that you get sometimes from pre-workout, like your body will react I don't want to say negatively, but it will definitely react to foreign substances or foreign amounts of things that you could even be used to. All right. So that's definitely a good point there. I like that. What's up, Dill? He says, solid. I appreciate you, bro. David, what's up? Damien, what's happening? David says, that's why it's best to have whole foods, right? I mean, if you choose to, you can have whole foods, but this applies to whole foods and fast foods. Honestly, if you eat the same consistent fast foods as I was mentioning earlier on with the pizzeria analogy, like when I eat certain pizzas from different places and how that affects me differently, like it applies to that, right? So it's not just whole foods, but honestly, whole foods that you are consistently consuming would reduce the amount of it would reduce the amount of variables, right? And if it reduces the amount of variables, you're more likely to have less of an adverse reaction, inflammation, or a negative body response. We'll call it negative body response because it's not comfortable to be bloated, it's not comfortable to itch, and all that stuff. All right. What it is, Bianca also says, but there's also a scenario when bloating can stem from a buildup of gas as well. Yep. The expansion of food that you eat. So you have to watch out for those sometimes, definitely. And that does also correlate with the like lack of digestion or indigestion. Depends what foods you're eating and how consistently are you eating them. Like it could, and we're gonna talk about beans for a little bit because that's typically one of the foods that do that to you. And some vegetables, which off the top of my mind I can't remember, broccoli will do that to you as well. But again, how often do you consume broccoli? How often do you consume beans? What type of beans are you consuming? Like what source, right? And if they're canned or if you're like cooking them from the bag, so many different variables, the amount of starch that's in it, and just your body's ability to digest that certain food based off of the consistency and just like again your body's ability to digest the food, like there are all so many variables that are gonna, we'll say, impact you or cause an adverse response, whether it's inflammation, whether it's water retention, whether it's the creation of like extra gas in your guts, so many things. But the bloating in whether it's gas, whether it's water, um, whatever it is bloating, right? So applying one or three of the tips that I did mention will help you in one way, shape, or form. But that is fucking important. I like the fact that you mentioned that because I feel that I did forget to mention like the gas, right? But again, it all contributes to bloating, and this can all aid with that, especially hydration. If you're hydrated properly, you'll be able to pass gas pretty easily. Um, um, what it is? What's up, Bianca? Again, she's like going off. It's like you're making up for the missed time, buddy. She's like, also chewing your food can also make digestion easier. Absolutely, especially if you chew it until it's almost pasty or liquid-like. And that is so fucking true. The reason why it's so fucking true is because not only will it actually pass through your system better in terms of like less chunks and stuff like that, and not only will it be able to be more metabolized better that way, but if you guys and girls didn't know, there are digestive enzymes in your saliva, right? And the more you chew and cover these foods or any food with your digestive enzymes, the better response you'll get in your gastrointestinal tract, simply because the bacteria in your gastrointestinal tract will it'll be easier to digest it simply because the digestive enzymes from your saliva are already covered, right? With like essentially your food is already covered properly with it. So once it passes through, it digests a whole lot better, and that's a lot less work on your intestines to actually absorb and metabolize those foods because your natural digestive enzymes, which are under your tongue and your in your saliva, once you chew the food a lot and you like cover it with that saliva, it honestly just becomes a whole lot easier to digest. And of course, it's in less chunks, which means you're going to be able to absorb it a lot better. That's a good point there too. I like this. David says, "Can you go over supplementation in another podcast or live stream?" I'll do that. I definitely don't have enough time to do that today, but yeah, 100%. I will go over supplementation one day very soon for you guys and girls. That's a good idea, buddy. Um, Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, because I do have a video in the vault recorded talking about supplementation and the supplements and vitamins that I do take to make my body run optimally as a natural bodybuilder, as a professional natural bodybuilder. It's still so weird to say that. Bianca says doing that can help your body extract vitamins and minerals more efficiently, and your body doesn't have to do work as you break down the food because it's already mostly pulverized or pureed essentially. Yeah, that's true. 100%. Robert, what's good? She says also chewing can help burn some calories on the side too. I don't know what type of fucking not even well done. You got to be eating congratulations steak to be burning calories chewing food, bro. Like when I saw this meme the other day, and it's actually funny. So this like blue rare, medium rare, well done, and then congratulations. Congratulations is like fucking burnt steak. So if you're eating congratulations steak, first of all, I'm praying for you, and second of all, yeah, you're probably gonna be burning some calories and developing some pretty thick jaw muscles. I'm eating that shit. Just keeping it honest here with you guys and girls. We're rolling out like 30 minutes, so I'm gonna run through this real quick. Read a couple of questions here on Instagram. Hop on TikTok real quick because I'm not gonna neglect them, and then I'm gonna fly out of here. Bianca also says, Jeffrey, what's good? Lud, what's good? She says, facts. Give yourself time to rest and enjoy yourself. I respect the grind, but I also want you to have fun too. Absolutely. You know, what would I be doing if it wasn't fun? She says, "Yeah, sorry about that. I will always support you. You know that. Of course, I know that." She says, "But I'm able to catch you more consistently around this time." Again, this is late for me. I still like to do it a little bit earlier, but the replays will always be there. So feel free to drop a comment, just like how you're dropping these comments, and I'll definitely like. It's still gonna help somebody else. It's still gonna like be a value, just as it is now, right? So it isn't any less valuable if you don't like tune in at the same time as me, because the information that you're putting down there actually does help me elaborate and may help other people elaborate. And I'll still respond to your comments the same way that I am verbally, just via text. All right. So David Bleat says, "How many meals were you eating while bulking to get your pro card?" So, buddy, I wasn't actually bulking, like like getting fat and then getting fucking super shredded. I was sort of main gaining the whole entire time since about 2019 ish, 2019 February. I was like main gaining. The last time I actually bulked was like 2018 off season, and I fucking hated it. Because I wasn't doing cardio and I was eating north of 4,000 and just under 5,000 calories a day consistently through about 5 to 6 meals. But now I eat about 6 to 7 meals. They're a tad bit smaller. But again, my hydration is up, my cardio is consistent, so I'm burning a whole shit ton of calories. And to be honest with you, when I was like in the prep leading up to my show, I wasn't bulking. I had to cut down a lot to actually make weight. And I was eating about 5 meals a day, but they were like fucking dude, like there was like almost no carbs towards the end of it. So definitely you're gonna see the video when it uploads on YouTube there. I have those videos in the vault too showing what I ate. Pretty consistent. It was just you could have almost called it like 4 meals of tuna salad, and like eggs in the morning. I didn't even have oats anymore at that point. It was just like 5 eggs whole with 200 grams of egg whites scrambled into it. And then like 4 meals of what was it? It was like about 5, 6 ounces of tuna with like 50 grams of rice, and like the rest I just put in lettuce just to like trick myself into feeling full. So I definitely want to check out my YouTube for that one there, buddy. So I'm gonna read TikTok over here. We got like 1,000 likes on TikTok, which is pretty dope. I'm fucking super grateful. And I'm appreciative of each and every single one of you on all these social media platforms that are giving me the time out of your day that you know you'll never get back. All right. Just to hear from me. I love that. Scooter Kid, I appreciate the follow. Tokyo Ghoul 9888987 says, "How are you? I'm fucking doing awesome. I'm hanging out. Got a lot of energy today." Um, and then I'm not going to read the comments that are weird on TikTok. Of course, I'm gonna skip that. Kyle, I appreciate the follow. Dope. Hi, hi, hi. And official TTV mostly says, "I'm gonna get you to 1,000 likes." I fucking appreciate you, and I appreciate the follow. Much fucking love. I ghost my tokes follows the host. I appreciate your follow there. Yo, I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate the follow. Homie says, "What you play?" This is completely unrelated, and normally I wouldn't answer this question, but right now I'm playing Halo Infinite. That's like my shit right now. Jen, what the fuck is up? She's from Brampton, Ontario, Canada. What's up? You're in my backyard. We're chilling. Much fucking love. Salute. You know what it is. All right, people. Oh, okay. So I got a question on YouTube real quick, and then we're gonna dip out after that YouTube question because I don't want to ignore anybody that gives me the time out of their life they'll know they'll never get back. So Emperor says, "What's up? How you feel about Be Water, my friend? Use any of that in your life?" So I know exactly where that comes from. I think it comes from Bruce Lee. If correct me if I'm mistaken, it comes from Bruce Lee's. He was talking about something, and he was referring to being water, as in like being able to shape into anything, so that nothing really affects you, or so that you can just be like the best possible person in every single scenario. I fucking resonate with that Being water is like, it's like, would you rather be a brick or would you rather be water? Water can, you can pour it into a cup, it becomes the cup. You pour it into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Like, you can adapt, right? You can change, you can develop. And if you can change and develop, then you have a skill that most people don't have in life. And if you're able to, implement that skill in everything, again, the way and this is something that I was taught from one of my mentors, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you're able to be adaptable, coachable, and fucking like learn from situations, then you are like one of those 1% people that will be at the top, because like, your mind isn't just fixed on one certain way. Of like, try to put a brick into a cup, it won't fit. Try to put a brick into a water bottle, it won't fit, right? And that's like the representation of a mindset, or an analogy, like, that you will never ever grow, and you'll never ever adapt to whatever it is that you have to adapt to, simply because of your mindset, right? So being water, it's actually fucking crucial, and I actually like it. I love that quote from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is one of my favorites. I appreciate you, Emperor. What's your name? If you actually want to say your name, you don't have to if you don't want to, because I want to address you by your name because I fucking appreciate you. If you don't want to, you don't have to tell me, but I really do appreciate you, and thanks for actually saying that. I really appreciate it. Giving value to these people, including me, bro. David Jones. Salute. Shout out to David Jones on YouTube. He's watching this on the YouTube live stream. All right, guys and girls, that's it. That's all. We'll be back again tomorrow with another Natural Nomad podcast episode, and we'll be finishing off with the last Natural Nomad podcast episode of the week on Friday, as we do go live on Monday to Friday. So if you got any value from this, share it out to a friend. Again, take one thing from this podcast and implement it. It's all actionable value. I want you guys and girls to get a better life and to actually literally become better human beings and be water. So take what I'm giving you, learn from it. And if you've got anything to add or anything to teach me, I'm water. I'm open to learning about it. All right. So again, I'm fucking grateful for you, David Jones. Hope you have the sickest motherfucking Wednesday of your life. Your boy signing out. Until tomorrow, we're gone. Cheers.